Right. Right, we are live streaming again, so if I'll do a quick roll call of the meeting again, just so that we have everybody in attendance. Councillor Clark.
I'm here.
Councillor Dalston.
Hiya.
Hiya. Councillor Johnson.
Here.
Councillor Keir.
Here.
Councillor Marshall.
Here.
Councillor Mills.
Here, Lynn.
Councillor Nicholson.
I'm here.
Councillor Mrs Scott.
Yes, I'm here, Lynn.
Brilliant. And then I've got Councillors Harker.
Here.
Hi, Councillor Curry. Councillor Curry. I'll come back. Councillor Snedker.
Yes, I'm here, Lynn. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Tate.
Yes, still here.
Brilliant. Councillor Hughes.
Yes, good evening.
Hello. Paul Wildsmith.
Yes, Lynn, I'm here.
Real. Elizabeth Davison.
Hello, I'm here.
Hi, Luke Swinhoe.
Good evening.
Hi, Ian Williams.
Yes, Lynn, I'm here.
Hi, James Stroyan.
Here, Lynn. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just go back? Councillor Curry, are you there?
Yes, yes, I am.
Brilliant. Thank you. That's everybody then. I'll pass you over to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Lynn, and welcome again. Hopefully this time everything will go through smoothly. I'm quite sure it will. Oh, I've got a notice up saying my network's not good, so hopefully it won't. Nothing will go wrong. If I can just reiterate to welcome Councillor Tate to his first meeting of Cabinet. Councillor Tate is the leader of the independent group. Item number 2 on the agenda is declarations of interest. Does anybody have any declarations of interest? No, I can't see anybody's hands up. Item number 3 is to hear representations from members and the general public. Councillor Cindy Hughes has indicated she wants to ask a question on the council plan. Councillor Hughes, I'll bring you in when that item, we get to it on the agenda. Item number 4 is to approve the minutes of the council meeting held on the Tuesday, the 13th of October. Could I have someone to move that that is the correct record? Thank you. Is that agreed?
Agreed.
I can't see. Thank you. Item number 5, matters referred to Cabinet. There are no matters referred back to Cabinet. Item 6, issues arising from Scrutiny Committee. There are no issues arising from Scrutiny Committee. Item number 7 are key decisions. Councillor Mills, number 7A.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to request that Cabinet approve the updated Disabled Facilities Grant Policy and Regulatory Reform Order Policy. I do apologise, I have trouble with that. The report advises members of the capital resources available for disabled facilities grants during 2020-21 and requests that members release these capital resources in order that they are utilised in accordance with Disabled Facilities Grant Policy and Regulatory Reform Order Policy 2020-23. I recommend Cabinet approval of this report as recommended in paragraph 9 for the reasons given in paragraph 10.
Do we have a seconder to Councillor Mills' recommendation? Can I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Are there any questions on the report? Councillor Harker.
Thank you, Councillor Scott. I welcome the report, particularly as if I've understood correctly, it allows for more flexibility in the decision making in giving out the grants. And in saying that, I presume in the past we've had a number of applicants that have been unsuccessful because they failed to meet the earlier criteria. Are we able to do anything with those people in terms of contacting them or reassess their grants to see whether they would be now eligible under the new criteria, particularly as I understand there's also additional money available? Thank you.
Councillor Mills.
Thanks, Councillor Harker. Yes, you're correct. It does give us more flex, basically, within the model, which is good news, and it should mean that more people are able to access those funds. With regard to your question as to whether we can go back over retrospectively, I honestly don't know. I can refer you to the Director of Adult Services as to whether that's a possibility or not.
Okay, thank you. I believe in principle that would be possible. I think in reality, though, it's likely that those people's needs may have been met in a different way, depending on the passage of time since those needs been identified. But I believe that there's nothing in principle that would stop that.
Thank you. Councillor Curry.
Thank you. I also welcome these changes, the discretionary powers and the ability to raise or give extra funding where needed. And the theory of keeping people in their homes longer is very, very welcome. My only concern is that we as a council seem to be lacking in being able to support them as they leave the home. When they leave the home and outside, there is a lack of dropped curbs for anybody on a mobility scooter or electric wheelchair to get into town from outside of the town. My ward, I've had complaints from residents who wanted to get to the local pharmacy to get the medication. The council have a small amount of funding to put in drop curbs, but I think we need to do a big plan, and any new builds need to consider having adequate drop curbing in for the future to allow people with disabilities to be able to access where they want to go outside of the house. But this is very good for within the house.
Am I all right to answer, Chair?
Yes, Councillor Mills, yes.
Yeah, I welcome that, Councillor Curry. I can probably liaise with Councillor Keir on that with regard to our two portfolios. It's sort of where they cross over. Possibly that's something that we can further have a meeting and a discussion on.
Are there any more questions? In that case, can we agree the recommendations? I can't see any hands up to the contrary. Thank you, Councillor Mills. Item 7B is the council plan, and introducing the council plan, can I just make a couple of comments? I think you will see from the introduction that this actually was presented to Cabinet originally on the 7th of January. It went out to consultation and then came back to Cabinet on the 3rd of March. Unfortunately, in the intervening period, COVID happened. So there have been some minor adjustments to the plan, but they are only minor adjustments. And so it does mean that we do not need to go out to consultation again. If I can just comment on, certainly within the introduction to the plan as it is presently, since we first put it together, the COVID pandemic has had a major effect on the life of the residents and the businesses. And as a result, we've had to make some changes, slight changes to the document. However, it's still an ambitious but realistic vision of how we see the borough moving forward. The statement in the introduction reinforces that growing the economy is crucial, but also maximising people's potential and support those who need help is something I would hope all members of the council can support as we move forward. I would like to move the plan. Can I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Can I have, thank you. Thank you very much. Councillor Hughes, you have a question.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Scott. As you said, the plan was initially considered by Cabinet on 7th January and then came to the Children and Young People Scrutiny Committee on 13th January 2020. And that was when that happened, we lived in a different world. Despite our world changing dramatically, the council plan is hardly altered. Chair, I'd like to highlight 3 points that illustrate that the council plan has fallen off the rails, and by so doing, encourage Cabinet to reconsider its ambitions in this changed world. My points focus on the section dealing with children and young people on page 53. So firstly, We've got to improve our relationships with Darlington's educators. That's nurseries, childminders, primary and secondary schools, the college, and sixth forms. These dedicated individuals and institutions are struggling to help children and young people cope with the enormous stresses, uncertainties, and inconsistencies of our time. Attainment is important, but we must champion along with educators those things that make attainment possible. Good mental health and well-being, security and safety, and enough of the material things to keep body and soul together. Secondly, youth unemployment. The latest figures from October indicate that 5.9% of 16 to 19-year-olds in Darlington are claiming universal credit and searching for work compared to 4.6% nationally. 12.1% of 20 to 24-year-olds are claiming compared to 9.2% nationally. 8.9% of 25 to 29-year-olds are claiming compared to 7.6% nationally. All of our youth unemployment figures in Darlington are significantly above national average. So what can be done about this? The plan is all but silent. Council's efforts must focus on the education, training, and skilling that relates to present and future real opportunities in the local labor market. If we're not sure what the local labor market will sustain in the future, we need to be sure young people are learning transferable skills. We need to bring educators and businesses into meaningful conversation well before government says, we'll give you £4,000 to take on a young person as an apprentice. That's simply the wrong way round. And we know that the council and Darlington can't do this alone. We need to lead in the Tees Valley on education and skills. The current governance arrangements at the combined authority within this crucial policy area are not fit for purpose. They need reforming.
Councillor Hughes, we're not discussing the Tees Valley Combined Authority. We're discussing this plan. Will you please?
Yes, I understand, and I am sticking to it with permission, because if you look at the points that were listed in the plan itself, it does mention very, very briefly skilling, and obviously the Combined Authority has the responsibility for that, and we are members that act within that. So just to get back, so we need to act as one with our educators and businesses to speak with one voice within the Combined Authority to secure our share of better future for Darlington's young people. And finally, we need to address the 39% plus children living in poverty in Darlington. Again, the plan is all but silent. I'm proud of the way that Cabinet and Council members have stood with our community and local charities to try to meet the growing needs of our disadvantaged children and young people. Together, we've reacted and stepped up, but we need to do more, much more. So my question is this: in response to the world-changing events of the past 9 months, can this council plan become a strategic recovery plan, positioning the council at the heart of a dynamic partnership addressing the real issues, needs, and concerns of the children, young people, and families within the borough? Or is it destined to be just another hollow, out-of-date, little red bureaucratic tome? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes, and I would challenge you on the comments that you've made, because if you refer actually to the plan for children and young people, you mentioned enhanced and targeted support to achieve their full potential. That is at the heart of the plan. You also mentioned to reduce youth and long-term unemployment by increasing the opportunity for retraining and apprenticeships leading to gainful employment. That's also included in the plan. I think that what you haven't realised, that obviously these are the high-level comments. We obviously have the same ambitions as you have for our young people. And I think the comments that you've made, I'm very surprised that you have made those comments, because obviously you were in the administration before when we have to do a plan. The plan is looked at every year. You will have an opportunity to challenge if you do not think that we're making the progress. But as a cabinet, we have ambitions for everybody in the town, particularly our young people, because they are our future. So I'm sorry, Councillor Hughes, but I'm very surprised and disappointed at the comments that you have made. But however, I will take them on board. We have listened to what you have to say. Does anybody else have any other questions, or would anybody else like to comment? No. Oh, Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to make a comment on the council plan in response to what Councillor Hughes has said. In relation to the health and housing portfolio, my team, right from people in Lifeline Services right the way up to director, have had an input into the evolution of this plan. Now, after talking to the team, and I'm talking about people who work on reception in the Dolphin Centre and our frontline Lifeline Services team, they've all had some impact into creating this plan. That isn't something that happened before. So I just want to say I'm very proud of the key actions we've got as a department, and we're very inspired as a department to try and deliver these for the people of Darlington. They are very ambitious. They are very proportionate to the response and dealing with COVID. And I just feel really disappointed that Councillor Hughes has chosen the opportunity tonight to badmouth the plan when I have sat through this council for the last 5 years looking at the council plans under Labour, which have constantly been out of date, haven't been on target, and we've spent the last year trying to recover those plans. And I'd just like to say that I'm proud and I'm pleased that we've got this plan, and it's really going to deliver success for Darlington.
Councillor Curry.
According to my side, my hand's not raised. I think it's Councillor Clark.
Oh, sorry. Right, we've got. I've got hands along the bottom. Councillor Clark, would you like to comment?
Yeah, it's just, well, it's been pedantic on some of the figures, but having just come off a call with the lead members for children and young people and having a presentation by the North East Child Poverty Commission, the figure you quoted there, 39%, doesn't seem to be accurate. I know it's being pedantic, but it's actually 33.9%. I mean, that is just splitting hairs, I know, but what you've got to realise that this is a plan, and as any good plan, it will be reviewed, and like any other plan, there's just because something isn't in it, it doesn't mean to say that things are being dealt with or being looked at. So, this is a plan which us as a council think are the priorities, but as any plan, it will be reviewed and certain aspects will be looked at very seriously, from basically what's happened in the recent months.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Councillor Snedker.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not going to comment on the details of the plan. Those individual papers will come through scrutiny in Cabinet in their due course, and I hope to have a positive impact on those as they make their way through and then get implemented. My comment really is one about resources, really. I know that Councillor Johnson I've exchanged a couple of emails on this. For years now, local authority have been receiving short-term funding forecasts a year at a time, and we have another national one-year funding strategy being produced. And this isn't a criticism of anyone in particular, it's just a statement of the very difficult atmosphere in which we're working on a plan. We welcome the Towns Fund that came through. We welcome awards of money to the town, money being spent on the railway, etc. But waiting and hoping for individual grants to come through for one thing or another is no way to fund a sustainable and stable local government. And I'd just like to make the point that no matter how well we run this council or how efficiently we work, without a fair and stable funding formula, it is going to be incredibly difficult to build sound foundations of activity and actions into the future. And I really hope that we as a council can help influence central government that we need a fair and stable funding formula. Otherwise, our best efforts will not be for the best of the citizens of Darlington.
Thank you, Councillor Snedker. Councillor Marshall.
Thank you, Chair. Could I just respond to Councillor Hughes with regards to youth and employment and skills? As she rightly points out, we are working alongside the economic recovery from COVID with the Combined Authority. And within the economic strategy for the Combined Authority, youth and employment skills development plays an absolutely vital role. And within my portfolio as well, although it doesn't say so explicitly, we are concentrating on youth and skills development, and we have a dedicated resource for that. And Darlington will be taking a lead with Tees Valley to promote skills development to try and address the 16 to 24-year-old range with unemployment. It is a fact that COVID has hit them very badly. It is recognised in the economic recovery strategy, and we will be taking a key role in that to try to address it. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Marshall. If there are no other questions, can I just wind up by saying that as a Cabinet, we work together across all of our portfolios to ensure that we're doing the best that we possibly can for all the residents of Darlington. That is adults, children, businesses, and we will do everything within our power to make sure that we can implement as much of this plan as possible. I think the comment that Councillor Snetka said is very relevant. Obviously, we're still in difficult times. We are getting extra funding in, but let me assure you that I'm doing everything that I possibly can, and I think my colleagues will be as well, to make sure that we get our fair share. And obviously, yes, we do need certainly more funding, and we will do everything that we possibly can to the best that we can for Darlington. So is that agreed, please?
Agreed.
Thank you. Item number 7C is Councillor Johnson.
Well, thank you, Chair. Members will recall that the Cabinet received a report on the annual procurement plan at the July meeting, and this report is an update. Members will be aware the annual procurement plan lays out the Council's procurement intentions over the year, and this report includes additional procurement intentions that have come forward since July report was issued. These are set out in Appendix 1. The plan is also subject to contract procedure rules, which require Cabinet to determine which contracts should be considered as strategic. And in line with paragraph 4, there are 3 such contracts in this update, and they are set out in paragraph 16. The second part of the report deals with decisions taken by the Procurement Board to waive the contract procedure rules. These rules provide for this and are set out in paragraph 18, and the occasion when the rules were waived are set out in Appendix 3. I move the report as recommended in paragraph 9 for reasons given in paragraphs 10 and 11. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Are there any questions to Councillor Johnson? Councillor Curry.
It's not a question on the actual report, it's about the presentation that we've got in the report of the facts and figures at the back. The print is very, very small. Anybody with any sight problems will have difficulty seeing them. And I don't know if they've tried to print them landscape and not portrait, because on the back page it is in landscape, but the reading of these for anybody with any sight problems, they will be extremely difficult for them.
Councillor Curry, you probably realise why I brought this with me. Yes, I totally agree. It's the smallest font possible, and I don't know why. I'm sure somebody will be listening to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. I'm sure we'll get that sorted for next time. Item number 8, Councillor Keir.
Thank you, Chair. Stockton Darlington Railway Walking and Cycling Route, and it's moving forward. So the purpose of this report is to seek members' approval for the proposed alignment of the Stockton and Darlington Railway walking and cycling route as a continuous public right-of-way through the borough, that it is funding is sought on as many sources as possible so that it can deliver for the bicentenary celebrations in 2025, and that the council works with its other partners on the Rail Heritage Board to jointly promote the route as part of the tourism strategy. The summary gives the details of the route. There's a map at the back as well that also shows the routing, the intended route or the proposed route that we're hoping to go. With that said, Chair, I would like to recommend the recommendations in paragraph 6 for the reasons given in paragraph 7.
Thank you, Councillor Keir. Is that seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you, Councillor Marshall. Are there any questions to Councillor Keir? Councillor Snedker.
Thank you, Chair. I welcome this report really strongly. It's a wonderful report, a walking and cycle route along the route of the Stockton Darlington Railway, combining so many of the great things we have to offer people, the heritage, the lovely green space, a lovely compact market town, and it really should be a showcase for us to show off how proud we are of our town. And it'll be a facility, I'm sure, that many other parts of the country will wish they had too. And it's something that we see on the continent being very successful, these longer routes that make access to town and country equal for everyone. But I do have a few questions, as you'd expect. Paragraph 15 talks about how we're not going to be fully ready for 2025. And I'm aware land purchases and rights negotiations are complex, and I'm sure our legal team are working hard on that. I just obviously want an assurance that once all the noise and light of 2025 is over, this won't go off the boil, and we will continue to ensure that we get this route in place as fully along the line of the railway as possible. But the more pressing questions I have are about the accessibility of this, and it is about driving accessibility for all, and the Equalities Act does bind us on this one. And I am concerned to see that there's talk about barriers along the route, about using loose surfaces along the route, and also this walking and cycling route in paragraph 36 may not actually be a cycling route. It could be a footpath in places, which would be defeating the whole point of a long distance walking and cycling route. I hope that this route is fully accessible and does comply with Local Transport Note 120. And I hope that we don't spoil the ship for a ha'porth of tar, if I'm not mixing my metaphors. So it's a great opportunity, and I hope that those points could be taken on board. Thank you, Chair. Okay, respond, Chair.
Yes, there is just another question from Councillor Curry. Do you want to take them both together, Councillor Keir? Councillor Curry, would you like to put your question, and then Councillor Keir will answer both of them together?
It's not necessarily a question. I welcome this. I'm pleased the council have got on board with this. This was one of the ambitions of the Friends of Darlington and Stockton Railway when they were first formed way back ages ago, when I actually helped them get together and get started. So I'm really pleased that this is going forward. A little sad that it won't be completed completely in time, but I understand the reasons why. And I think that it's something that we need to highlight in our heritage, in putting forward on our plans, and also to advance tourism, because it will be a lovely walk and a feeling for people to walk the route. And I think this is something that we really need to push in our history going forward.
Thank you, Councillor Keir. Would you like to respond?
Yep. Thank you for your comments. I'll go with Councillor Curry first. Thank you. Yep. I think it's going to be a great tool for engaging children, for engaging schools and other groups, to bring them in to see the history of the Stockton and Darlington Railway. I think it's a great hook for kids as well, to get them on the cycle route, to get them to go and see the route of the place and get things moving that way as well, that active travel. There will be, to go into the Councillor Snedker's points, absolutely, after the intent is to have this a complete route, because it's part of the fundamental fabric of what we're trying to do with the Heritage Centre, and of course bring people into that Heritage Centre, and also to not just do the Heritage Centre in Darlington, but also the Stockton and Darlington Rail with the route up to Shildon, etc. So there is a fundamental will to do that, and that is the intent, is that would be complete. The barriers, there will be, we're still looking north of the town, we're still looking at some areas where we may have to cross over the railway to make that happen. So there will necessarily be some barriers there, but we're trying to minimise them, and obviously it all depends on the ground we can get, etc. The intent would be to make it a cycle path, cycle and walking route as much as possible, with the intent that obviously we would like it to be 100% cycling and walking route. So that is the intent. There may be some areas where there are a pinch point or something, we may have to do something there, but the intent is to do that as per the requirement of the transport notes, to try and make sure that that route is a continuous route for the full intent. Obviously we've got our partners in the north as well at Durham, and they will be continuing the route as well in their area, and at the Stockton side as well. The other intent is, of course, that if it's cutting through the way it cuts through the town, there will be other accesses to it, whether it be from buses or whether it be from bridge access or lay-bys, or indeed other cycle routes. For example, in Tornado Way, where they cross over, to give people the opportunity to access the walk, the 26 miles, from various areas along the route. So that is the intent. It is a key, for me anyway, it's a key sort of a coat hanger or a hanger for the whole heritage site, because it gives you a good lead in from various different access points to get to the heritage site. Hopefully that answers your questions.
Thank you, Councillor Kerr. If there are no more questions, can we agree?
Agreed.
Thank you. Item number 9, Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. I have to say this report is one of the most complex on my agenda. The council is legally obliged to produce a local council tax support scheme and agree it each year, the last being approved by council in December 2019, and this remains in place until April 2020. This report recommends the scheme as it currently stands and remaining unchanged for 21-22, and continues to provide up to 100% council tax support for care leavers under the age of 25 and 80% support for all other working age people. Members will be aware that pensioners are protected from the effects of local schemes by a national framework of rules and eligibility. Any member who have any technical questions on this report, I would have to forward to the appropriate officers. There are no changes proposed for next year, therefore I move the report as recommended in paragraph 5 for the reasons given in paragraph 6. Thank you, Chair.
Can we have a seconder, please, for the report? Thank you, Councillor Mills. Are there any questions to Councillor Johnson on the report? No, I can't see any hands up. So is that agreed? Thank you. Item number 10, revenue budget monitoring. That's Councillor Johnson again.
Thank you, Chair. This is the second quarter budget monitoring report forecasting budget outturn for this year 2021. Now I'm pleased to report that there is a projected overall improvement in balances of 1.143 million. The report includes the impact of COVID-19 on expenditure and income, with the expenditure projection of 13.7 million with government grants to date of 8.7 million, with a further 4.2 million anticipated, which will leave us with a shortfall of 0.875 million. The detailed financial effects of COVID-19 across the service areas to date are detailed in Appendix 4. Subsequently, our general reserves are projected to be 20,506,000 at the March 21. This will help our medium-term financing plan moving forward. Our departments have done well in their efforts to reduce costs, particularly during this difficult period. However, we will need to keep a close eye on our financing given the potential long-term effects of this pandemic. I move the report in accordance with the recommendations given in paragraph 9 for the reasons given in paragraph 10. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Marshall. Are there any questions to Councillor Johnson? No, I can't see any hands up. So is that agreed? Thank you. Item 11, project position statement, capital programme monitoring. Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. This report provides information on the latest capital resource and commitment, monitoring affordability and funding of the capital programme. Just to advise members of the more important content of this report, which is namely the departmental overview of live projects for economic growth and children's services, which are shown in paragraph 14 to 18. The movement in the capital programme since approval of the 2020 MTFP is shown in paragraphs 21-22. The items that are fully supported by, these items are fully supported by detailed information in the appendices 1 to 4. There are currently 39 live projects in Appendix 1 and are expected to outturn at 126 million, delivering on time and cost. Only one project is beyond the acceptable tolerances at this point in time, and that is in Geneum Park, and this is due to a delay in the timing of the drainage works to suit ecological requirements. I think we're all reminded of that with a fleet of plastic ducks floating around in the park there. Finally, the overall programme remains on budget at 254 million, attending to council services, council homes, schools, traffic flows and sustainable travel. So I move the report in accordance with the recommendations in paragraph 6 for the reasons given in paragraph 7.
Can we have a seconder, please? Councillor Keir, thank you very much indeed. Are there any questions to Councillor Johnson on his report? Councillor Harker.
Thank you, Councillor Scott. I'm sure most people are fully aware of the impact that COVID has had on the revenue budgets, and to some extent, Councillor Johnson hinted at that in the previous report. I just wondered if you could share with us any information or thoughts you have in terms of the impact that COVID has had on the capital project, either in terms of financial impact or in terms of timeliness of the ability of projects to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Harker. My understanding is that we have not suffered particularly in the programme due to COVID. There has been some hiccups here and there, but in essence, most of the work that's been planned has been progressed. I will, however, be quite specific and write to you on that matter.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can we agree the report? Thank you very much. Item 12 is schedule of transactions, and there is a part 3 item attached to this report. Does anybody have any questions on the part 3 item? Okay, well, we'll proceed then, Councillor Johnson, and agree both reports.
Thank you, Chair. these are the former lime cells at Hopetown Lane and are considered as significant local historic importance and linked to the Darlington-Stockton Railway. The acquisition will enable the facilitation of the building to be used as part of Stockton and Darlington 2025 celebrations. It's necessary for Cabinet to agree the terms negotiated by the Director of Economic Growth on behalf of the Council to enable contractually binding contracts to be completed. As the Chair says, Part 3, Appendix 1 is not to be published.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for the report? Thank you, Councillor Kerr. Councillor Curry, you have a question?
Not a question, but a comment. I welcome the acquisition of this. It's been a bit of an eyesore for that area of town for some time. I'm looking forward to seeing it put into the Heritage Quarter and being brought back into use in some form or other. It is part of our history, and I welcome this acquisition.
Thank you, Councillor Curry. I totally agree with your comments.
Is that agreed? Can't see anybody not agreeing. Item 13, membership changes. Are there any membership changes? No. There are no supplementary items. Item 15 is questions. Are there any questions? Councillor Curry.
Thank you. There's been a post going around Darlington on Facebook that £364,817 has been awarded to Darlington for the free school meals. Bearing in mind the figures that were quoted of the percentage of poverty, families in poverty, do we have enough money to be able to help these families during the next few months, especially up to Christmas, in providing them the support that they need? And and I have another question, and it's to do with the waste management contract that we're negotiating. Will we be separating out food waste management as a collection point, or will we be keeping that all in with the household?
Thank you. Councillor Curry, on the answer to your first question, we haven't yet had the final details of the allocation, but yes, I'm quite sure that because the money that we're getting is not only to cover Christmas holidays, it's to cover Easter holidays and summer holidays next year as well. And it's split into two portions as soon as we get the final details. But rest assured, as we did during the October holiday, this council will make sure that all children who need food will receive food. And we will also be helping other families who don't necessarily qualify for free school meals to make sure that through the other facilities that we've got, the bread and butter thing and other organisations, we will make sure that all families do not suffer. As far as the waste management is concerned, I can't answer that. Is Mr. Williams here? Would you be able to answer that? I think it's been asked before, the question. Ian, would you like to comment on that?
Yes, the activity that we currently do, it will follow the same pattern as is currently envisaged and delivered through the current contract with Wades. Of course, we'll have a new deliverer from one of the three procured partners who are looking to build the new facility. But the intention is that the waste will follow the same treatment process.
Thank you. Are there any more questions? No. If I can thank all members for their attendance this evening, it has been a rather stressful evening. Can I thank in particular Lynn and her team and the IT team for coming in and fixing it. And we did get through, and obviously these things do happen from time to time. But thank you for your forbearance. And as I say, thank you very much for the team who sorted this out. So it is just 6:30. It could have been a lot worse. So thank you very much indeed. Go home and relax. Thank you.
Thanks all. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good night,
you.
all.
Bye.